So, my husband asked me for money for a guy's trip. Said he and his college buddies were heading out to Vegas. But turns out, he was really taking his girlfriend on some romantic getaway. I found out, flew out there myself, showed up right in the middle of their fancy dinner, and handed him divorce papers in front of everyone. Let me back up. My husband Jason lost his job about 8 months ago, and man, it's been rough. Like, really rough. I've been covering everything, rent, bills, groceries, while he's supposedly been out looking for work. And I say supposedly now because, honestly, I have no clue what the hell he's actually been doing with his time. Anyway, I work in marketing for a tech company. It's a solid job. Doesn't make me rich, but it's enough to keep us going while he figures his stuff out. I've tried to be patient. I get that losing a job can mess with your head and your self-esteem, but 8 months is a long damn time. What started to wear me down was how every day I'd come home from work and ask him how the job search was going. And every time, I'd get the same vague responses, stuff about sending out resumes, networking, following up on leads. But nothing ever came of it. Then about 4 weeks ago, he comes to me all hyped up, talking about this guy's trip his college friends are planning. Says they're going to Vegas and it'll be good for him to get away for a few days, clear his head. He even mentioned that one of the guys works in recruiting now, so maybe he could make some career connections while he's out there. And I thought, okay, maybe this could be what he needs. A break, some encouragement from friends, a bit of a reset. He's been moping around the house for months and, honestly, it's been driving me up the wall. He tells me it'll cost about $2,000 for the whole thing: flight, hotel, food. I start mentally working through our budget and figure we can make it work if it means he comes back with a little more drive. So I transfer the money to his account. Tell him to have a good time, maybe come back with some job prospects. He gives me this big kiss, says he's so thankful, promises he's going to turn things around. I help him pack, like I always do when he travels. I'm folding his clothes and I find this sharp-looking suit tucked in his suitcase. A real expensive one, like Hugo Boss. And I know for a fact we haven't bought anything like that lately. We've been tightening our belts. That thing had to cost at least $700. I ask him about it, and he acts all weird. Says it's an old suit he found in the back of the closet. But I know his closet. I know every piece of clothing the man owns. I've never seen this thing before. When I say that, he gets defensive. Starts snapping at me, saying maybe I just don't pay attention to what he wears. Wants to know why I'm grilling him over a suit. That should have been a big red flag, but I didn't want to fight right before his trip, so I dropped it. Now I wish I hadn't. The morning he leaves, I kiss him goodbye and tell him to text me when he lands. He says not to worry, that he'll check in, and I'm thinking maybe we both needed this space. I could use a few quiet days myself. But then things start to feel off. That first night, he texts around 10 p.m. saying they're all wiped from the flight and going to bed early. And I'm sitting there like, what? These are his wild college friends. They don't go to bed early. They party till sunrise. Next day, I try calling him around lunchtime. His phone goes straight to voicemail. Hours later, he texts back, says they were at a pool party and his phone died. But the WhatsApp status says he was active like 30 minutes after I'd called. So clearly, his phone didn't die. Third night, I call him around 11. He picks up, but his voice is weird, like he's in a rush to hang up. And there's music in the background, not club or bar music, more like a fancy restaurant vibe. Soft jazz or something. I ask him where he is, and he tells me they're at a sports bar watching the game. Except there's no sound of a game in the background. And the music? Definitely not sports bar music. When I bring that up, he gets annoyed, says I'm being paranoid, and hangs up. Just hangs up. He never does that. I sat there staring at my phone, completely rattled. Couldn't sleep that night. My brain kept spinning, adding up all the little things that didn't sit right. Then I remembered he left his MacBook at home. Said he wanted a break from emails. Made sense at the time. But now I'm wondering if he left it behind on purpose. So I open his laptop and start going through his messages. At first, everything looks fine. Just the usual group chats and work stuff. But then I find this thread with someone saved as wife. And my heart just drops, because that sure as hell isn't me. I open the chat and immediately feel sick. It's all lovey-dovey garbage. Miss you. Can't wait to see you. All that. Then I see messages from a couple weeks ago. She's asking if he booked the hotel yet, and he's sending her the confirmation. She's talking about how excited she is for their romantic weekend. Says she's been shopping for lingerie. My stomach just twists. But what really pushes me over the edge? She starts talking about me. Says she feels bad that he has to deal with the wife nagging him about money and job stuff. And he responds like, yeah, I don't understand him, and I've gotten bitter and unsupportive. They're talking about me like I'm the side character in their love story. Meanwhile, I've been keeping the damn lights on. I scroll through months of this. Turns out they met on OnlyFans. She started as someone he paid for content, and somehow it turned into this full-blown relationship. Now she thinks they're gonna ride off into the sunset together. He's been telling her our marriage is basically over, and he's just waiting for the right time to leave me. And yeah, you guessed it. He used the money I gave him for that so-called guy's trip to book a luxury weekend with her in Vegas. She keeps calling herself his real wife. Says she can't wait until they don't have to sneak around anymore. I'm just sitting there, reading this, shaking and crying. I felt like the biggest idiot in the world. But then, the tears stop, and the anger shows up. I mean, this man has been living in my house, eating the food I paid for, mooching off me, lying to my face, while carrying on some fantasy love affair with a cam girl. I snapped screenshots of everything, every last message, and then I did something maybe I shouldn't have, but I didn't care. So I open up the Find My iPhone app. We're on the same Apple ID because of family sharing, and boom, I can see exactly where he is. And guess what? He's not at the cheap hotel he told me he'd be staying at with his college buddies. Nope, he's at the freaking Bellagio, in a suite that costs more per night than I make in an entire week. I'm staring at his location on the screen, and it hits me like a freight train. This man used my money to take his little OnlyFans girlfriend on a romantic Vegas getaway. And something inside me just snapped. I didn't even think. I booked myself a flight for the next morning. No hesitation, no planning, just straight up survival mode. Because I wasn't about to sit at home crying into my wine while he's out there sipping champagne with his side piece on my dime. And I sure as hell wasn't going to let him spin some sob story later on about how the marriage just didn't work out. Nah, I wanted to catch them red-handed. I wanted to humiliate them. I wanted everyone around them to know exactly what kind of man he really is. Maybe that makes me petty or cold or vindictive, whatever. I honestly don't care anymore. He lit our marriage on fire, and now I was ready to torch his little fantasy world right along with it. That 4-hour flight felt like it took a lifetime. I kept checking his location the whole way, taking screenshots, saving everything. I wanted evidence, proof of where he was, what he was doing. I could see him bouncing around the hotel all day, probably lounging by the pool, hitting restaurants, playing out this romantic fantasy life with my paycheck. I landed in Vegas around 5 p.m., grabbed an Uber straight to the Bellagio, and sat myself down in the lobby trying to figure out my move. Around 8, I check his location again. He's at some high-end restaurant in the hotel. So I walk up to the hostess, calm as ever, and say, I'm meeting my husband for dinner. His name's Jason Keller. She checks the reservation and goes, oh yes, Mr. and Mrs. Keller. Would you like to be seated now? Mrs. Keller, can you believe that? This chick actually made the reservation using my husband's last name, like she's already replaced me. I smile and tell the hostess, yes, please. Lead the way. She walks me through the restaurant, and there they are, before they even see me. Candlelight, wine, tucked away in some romantic little corner booth. She's got on this bright red dress. He's wearing that expensive suit I found in his suitcase. They're holding hands, laughing, looking like some picture-perfect couple. Except, surprise, he's still married to me. I walk right up to their table, look him dead in the eye, and say, hi, honey. Sorry I'm late. The look on his face? I'll remember it for the rest of my life. He looked like he'd seen a ghost, and maybe crapped himself a little at the same time. She looked confused, all wide-eyed, and asks, who are you? I'm his wife. I say, cool as ice. Her face goes pale, and she turns to him, clearly realizing she's been played. Jason starts stammering, trying to say it's not what it looks like, which is insane, considering we're standing in a romantic restaurant, mid-dinner, with him holding another woman's hand. She starts going on about how she had no idea he was married, that this is all news to her. But I came prepared. I whip out my phone and show her the screenshots. The ones where she calls herself his wife, talks about me like I'm the other woman, and gushes about how excited she is for their little getaway. She clams up real fast. By now, people around us are staring. It's a whole scene. Jason's trying to get me to sit down and talk about this quietly. And I'm like, no, sir. You can take your quiet conversation and shove it. I raise my voice because I want everyone in that place to hear. I tell him exactly what I think of him and his little fantasy fling. I let everyone know he's been lying to me, cheating on me, and spending my money to fund his fake romance. He tries to interrupt, says I need to calm down. Big mistake. I tell him not to tell me to calm down when he's been sneaking around behind my back for months and using my hard-earned money to wine and dine some chick from the internet. She jumps back in, saying she thought we were separated, that he told her our marriage was over. I actually laughed at that. I go, if our marriage is over, why was he living in my house? Sleeping in my bed? Taking my money for this little trip? She didn't have a word to say after that. The restaurant manager finally comes over and asks if everything's okay. I look him dead in the eye and say, no, it's not okay. My husband is here with his mistress, using money he stole from me. Jason's face turns beet red. He tries to pull me aside, but I'm not going anywhere. Then I slapped him. Right there, in front of everyone. One good clean slap across the face. And then I grabbed the water glass and tossed it straight into her face. She squealed like a wet cat. I looked at her and said, you can have him. I'm done. Then I pulled out the divorce papers, had a lawyer friend whip them up the night before. I slid them right across the table to him and said, you've got 25 days to get your crap out of my house and find somewhere else to sleep. We're done. But I wasn't finished yet. I pulled out my phone, hit record, and filmed the whole aftermath. Then I sent that video to his mom, his sister, his best friend, every single person in his family group chat. Captioned it, this is what Jason's been doing with the money I gave him for his job search. People around the restaurant were watching, some were even filming. Jason's trying to stop me, but it's too late. Everyone knows who he is now. His girlfriend's crying, makeup running, and looking nothing like those flawless filtered photos she probably used to hook him in. I walked out of that restaurant feeling better than I had in months. Got in an Uber straight to the airport, hopped on the red-eye home. I was tired, sure, but finally at peace. Because for once, I did something about it. I stopped sitting around wondering what was wrong with me. Update 1. Honestly, I'm blown away by how much support I've gotten since posting all this. So many of you said I wasn't the bad guy here, and that means more than you know. I've been second-guessing myself ever since I got back from Vegas, wondering if I went too far doing it all in public. But after reading your comments, I feel better. I really do. I'm glad I trusted my gut instead of playing it quiet like some folks told me to. Jason came back yesterday, and the look on his face when he saw all his crap packed up in boxes on the front lawn? Absolutely priceless. And yes, I changed the locks. Just like a bunch of you suggested. I'm not stupid. I knew he'd come back with some sad little speech about how sorry he is and how it didn't mean anything. Sure enough, he starts banging on the door, yelling that we need to talk like adults. So I yell back through the door, adults don't cheat on their spouses and blow rent money on their OnlyFans side piece. Take your adult conversation and shove it. He stood out there for like 3 hours. First, he was yelling, demanding to be let in because it's his house too. Which is hilarious, because his name ain't on the mortgage and he hasn't paid a single damn bill in 7 months. So I told him, call a lawyer if you think you have rights to my house. Then he switched gears, started begging and pleading, crying, saying he made a mistake. He still loves me, blah blah blah. Says he was confused, scared, unemployed, and she just took advantage of him when he was vulnerable. Yeah, nice try. For a second, just one, I almost feel bad for him. He's crying, looking pathetic. But then I remember those messages where he trashed me to his OnlyFans girlfriend, calling me bitter and unsupportive. I remember how he spent months planning this romantic getaway with her, lying straight to my face every single day like it was nothing. He tries to say it wasn't serious, that it was all just some fantasy that got out of hand, and he never meant for it to go this far. But I read those messages. I saw them talking about a future together. I saw her saying how excited she was for him to finally leave me. So he can take his BS and sell it to someone who didn't see the receipts. I tell him through the door that it's too late. I've already filed for divorce. He needs to figure out where he's going, because he's not coming back here. This isn't his home anymore. He keeps crying harder, swearing up and down he'll quit OnlyFans, block her number, go to therapy, do whatever it takes. But I'm done. It's too late for all that. Then he starts begging me just to let him inside so he can grab a few things. And normally, yeah, I'd probably have a little mercy. But I tell him everything he needs is already packed up in those boxes out on the lawn. Around 11 p.m., he finally gives up and calls his brother to come get him. I watch from my bedroom window as they load his stuff into the back of a truck. He keeps glancing back at the house, like he's hoping I'll come running out and forgive him. Like I'll suddenly forget everything and take him back. But I don't move. I stay right there, because I'm done being the understanding wife who puts up with his lies and puts his needs before my own. I finally figured something out. Just because someone says they're sorry doesn't mean you owe them forgiveness. And you know what's crazy? The second he was gone, I felt this weight lift off my chest. Like I could breathe for the first time in months. Maybe even years. I realized I'd been unhappy for a long time. I just didn't want to admit it to myself. Some people asked in the comments if I felt bad for humiliating her too. And honestly, no, I don't. She knew he was married. She helped him spend my money. She called me the other woman, like I was some obstacle in their relationship. She made her choice when she went after a man she knew was taken. Now she can deal with the fallout. Maybe next time she'll think twice before getting involved with someone who's clearly lying about his situation. Tomorrow I've got a meeting with my lawyer to start legally separating everything: finances, accounts, the works. I've already changed all my passwords, cut him off from every joint account and card. It's wild how fast your life can shift the moment you stop making excuses for someone else and finally start putting yourself first. I wish I'd done this months ago, instead of convincing myself I was being paranoid or unfair. And seriously, thank you. The support I've gotten from strangers online has meant more than I can say. I didn't feel so alone reading all your comments. Y'all reminded me I'm not crazy, and I definitely didn't deserve any of this. Final update. Okay, you're not going to believe what happened today. I barely believe it myself. It's so insane, I almost laughed, except it's also sad in the most pitiful way. So I'm at work this morning, just trying to keep my head down and focus, when I get a call from a number I don't recognize. And guess who it is? Jason's OnlyFans girlfriend. Real name? Tiffany. She's crying. Says she needs to talk to me. Says it's important. And I'm just sitting there like, what could this woman possibly say to me that I'd want to hear? But I was curious, so I stayed on the line. She launches into this whole sob story about how Jason blocked her on everything and won't answer her calls. She's panicking because she really thought they were going to build a life together. She tells me she quit her other job because he promised to take care of her financially. Now she's stuck. No income, no backup plan, because she put all her eggs in the Jason basket. I'm sitting there thinking, are you seriously calling me to cry about the fact that my cheating husband ghosted you? She goes on to say she knows I'm probably angry with her, but she swears Jason told her our marriage was over, that they were in love, and he just needed time to make it official. Then she hits me with the real reason for the call. And I swear, it nearly made my jaw hit the floor. She asks me if I can talk to Jason for her. Try to get him to unblock her. Give their relationship another shot. She says she's willing to share him if that's what it takes. I'm sitting at my desk, completely stunned. This woman just asked me to help her get my cheating husband back so they can keep sneaking around. I didn't know whether to laugh, scream, or just hang up. She keeps talking. Says she knows it sounds crazy, but she loves him. And if she has to be the other woman, officially, she's fine with that, as long as she gets to be with him. Promises she won't interfere with our marriage anymore. Too late for that, sweetheart. I finally find my voice and tell her flat out, you're completely out of your mind if you think I'm going to help you reconnect with the man who ruined my marriage. He's all yours, if you can find him. She starts crying harder, says she doesn't know how to reach him. She's been trying for days. Asks if I have his new number or know where he's staying. I tell her that's not my problem anymore. She should have thought about that before she helped him blow up our lives. But then she says something that really drives home how sad this whole thing is. She tells me she and Jason had never even met in person before the Vegas trip. Their entire relationship had been online, messages, video calls, OnlyFans DMs. She fell in love with a fantasy version of him that he made up on the internet. She actually quit her job, moved across the country, uprooted her life, for a man she'd never even met until a few days ago, because he told her they were going to be together. And now, she's broke, stranded, and alone in a new city with no job and no support system. I told her straight up, Jason is a liar and a manipulator. He'll say whatever people want to hear, just to keep the fantasy alive. She learned that the hard way, just like I did. She asks again if there's anything I can do to help her get in touch with him. I tell her, absolutely not. Then I told her maybe it's time she focused on getting her life back together, starting with a new job, and stopped chasing after a man who clearly doesn't want her anymore. I hung up, just sat there at my desk afterward, staring at the wall, thinking how unbelievably pathetic this whole situation is. She gave up everything for someone who never existed outside of her screen. A man who lied to both of us. And now, she's sitting in some Airbnb, crying while he's probably hiding out somewhere, realizing his fantasy girlfriend isn't nearly as fun when she's blowing up his phone begging him to come back. And she's starting to see that the man she loved was just smoke and mirrors all along. After that call, I blocked her number. I don't need any more drama in my life. I've got enough on my plate rebuilding and moving forward without either of them dragging me down. And let me tell you, it's wild how much clearer everything gets when you cut toxic people out and stop making excuses for their behavior. I honestly wish I'd done it sooner. I wasted so much time, energy, and love on someone who never truly deserved any of it. Anyway, thank you, again, to everyone who's been supporting me through this whole roller coaster. Your advice, your encouragement, all of it. I can't tell you how much it meant knowing I wasn't crazy, and I didn't deserve to be treated the way I was. Final update. I know I said the last one was my final update, but I just had to come back and share this little gem of karma. It's too perfect not to tell you. So, it's been half a year since everything blew up. My divorce was finalized last week, and I'm officially free of Jason and all his bullshit. I've been putting my energy into myself and my career, and honestly, I feel better than I have in years. I even got promoted at work, partly because I've been able to finally focus without worrying about what my unemployed husband was, or wasn't, doing all day. Funny enough, I'm now making more money on my own than we were making together back when he still had a job. So yesterday, I'm at the grocery store, just minding my own business, and I run into Jason's sister. We've always gotten along, so I stop to say hi and ask how she's doing. She looks a little awkward, like she's not sure whether to bring up the divorce or pretend it never happened. But then she leans in and tells me something that honestly made my whole week. Apparently, Jason's living in his mom's basement now, still unemployed, still struggling. And apparently, that video I sent to the family group chat, yeah, that had some consequences. His mom was so mortified by what he did, cheating, lying, blowing through my money. She made him delete all his social media. She's now monitoring his internet use like he's some grounded 14-year-old. She told the whole family that Jason isn't welcome at any family gatherings until he gets his life together. And get this, his sister says he's been depressed and keeps asking people if they think there's any chance I'll take him back. They all told him the same thing. You blew it. The minute you decided to cheat with some girl from OnlyFans, you lit that bridge on fire. But wait, it gets better. Remember Tiffany? The girlfriend who called me crying, asking for my help to get him back? Well, apparently she's still obsessed. She's been showing up at his mom's house trying to talk to him. His mom had to call the police and file a harassment report. Jason's sister told me Tiffany's also been commenting on their family's Facebook posts, begging them to talk to Jason on her behalf. She's sending friend requests to his relatives, digging for any info about where he is and what he's doing. Jason's been trying to get work, but every time he gets to the interview stage, something goes sideways. His sister thinks employers are Googling him and stumbling across Tiffany's posts and all the drama from their mess of a relationship. He's even been talking about moving to another state to start over, but he can't. He's broke, has no savings, and no one will hire him. So now he's stuck, living in his mom's basement, dodging a clingy ex who won't leave him alone, paying for his mistakes, literally and figuratively. And honestly, I almost feel bad for him. Almost. But really, I just wanted to share this update because it proves what I've always believed. Karma is real. It may take a little while, but it always comes back around. People who treat others like garbage eventually have to live in the mess they made. Meanwhile, I'm doing great. I'm happy. I'm excited about what's next. As for Jason and Tiffany, I hope they figure out their mess. But that's not my problem anymore. Thanks again to everyone who stood by me during all this. You helped me see that I deserved better and gave me the courage to finally do something about it instead of sitting there and accepting the disrespect. I'll never go back to that version of myself again. Here's to peace, growth, and a hell of a lot more self-respect. Thanks for sticking around and listening to my story. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss more true life stories just like this one.